Good morning. This is Nick from Beer and Bat Reps. I'm here to talk to you about a little hobby thing I love. It's one of my favorite things to do, honestly, in the hobby, and it's called kitbashing. If you've ever heard of a kitbash or kitbashing, it's where you take a sprue, not unlike this, and if you find extra little bits that you think, I better hold on to that, you never know. So you start digging through your bits box, and you go, that would look cool with that, or hey, I have this model over here, and I think I could make it unique in some way. It's basically where you take a bit from one sprue and you add it to something from another sprue to make it unique, or just fit the model better. So, for instance, Space Marine intercessors. The sergeant can take a power fist, but they don't make the model. The sergeant can take a power fist, thunder hammer, power sword. They're kind of hard to find. So what you do is you can take a power fist from another kit, clip the wrist of, a little further up, probably the forearm of the intercessor sergeant, find a good position for it to attach. You just kitbashed your first model. So basically, you take a look at a sprue like this. If you look, I've already built, this is a Thousand Suns Exalted Sorcerer sprue. I've already built the Sorcerer. These are just leftover bits. So you see like this cloak, I'm still holding on to that because I never know when I might want to use that. I don't know, kitbashed makeshift librarian, something like that. So today I'm going to show you a little bit of my kitbashed favorites because I've done it quite a bit in a lot of different armies. Not as much as like an orc player, of course, but yeah, if you've ever played in the orcs, they can kitbash pretty well. Just little fun ones, and I'll go through each one. I got some AdMech ones, I got a Khorne guy on a chariot, and then my new army, the Emperor's Spears. It's basically taking Primaris and adding Ideneth Deepkin weapons from that range, and it all fits together pretty well, I think. I also do some kitbashing with my Harlequins, so I'll show you a little bit of that. But yes, it's real simple, guys. You're just taking bits you have left over and adding it to your favorite models. It's real creative and it's fun. You kind of feel like a mad scientist, put some Netflix on, watch something, clip some things, and see what you end up with. You usually want to make an idea in your head first because the models are expensive. You don't want to just start cutting models and not ending up with something you like. So you want to think of the idea first and then find the bits you think would work, kind of eyeball it, and then start your cutting process so that you're not ending up being wasteful with GW expensive models. But yeah, I'm going to show you some of my favorites here. Some are really simple. Like over here, basically I took the Armiger with the 2 autocannons, and I took a Doom Crawler from AdMech and I just swapped the legs. So it now has a Doom Crawler legs. It's one of my favorite ways to make the little knight Armigers. And then I had the bits left over and I thought that would be hilarious to just stick the Armiger legs on the Doom Crawler. It actually works. He stands up. It looks ridiculous. It looks like something from Star Wars. So, kind of ridiculous. Hope everyone doesn't hate me. Another one I like to do with the Doom Crawler is, this is the Warp Lightning Cannon from Skaven. I just think it looks right at home on creepy ancient technology, like maybe Dark Mechanicus, something like that. So that's another Doom Crawler bit that I like to do. A couple years back, one of the Khorne champions from AOS had this epic beard and huge spear, and I just thought he was the coolest model. So I took him, if you can see real well on that, and I stuck him on a chariot, and then I got a Juggernaut, assembled that, attached it to the chariot with all these little chains and ropes that I could find, and it just created this really cool Khorne champion. So that's one of my favorites over there. I'm going to go ahead and bring you a little closer and show you some of my favorites. So yeah, you can see the kitbash. It can be something really simple, guys. You need to find a good spot where it'll attach So I was able to attach his torso to these legs really simply. Something like this, it's not always the prettiest way to attach it, but once it's painted, you can kind of cover up some of that. Some people actually could use a little bit of green stuff to fix that. I'm sure you can hear my dog and cat fighting in the background, sorry. Here's that Star Wars looking one I showed you. Another painted up one for my knight army. I just wanted them to have the cool spider legs. Then we get a little more in-depth ones. This is a kitbash where we wanted to make a chaplain dreadnought. So a little more in-depth there. Those are the spears on top from AOS Stormcast Eternals. The rest of him basically is, let's see, that's an arm from Blood Angels. I'm sure you can tell from the claws. Here's one of my favorites. I took Celestine. Let's see if we can get a better look there. Yeah, I took Celestine and I swapped her head and arms with Slaanesh Demonette parts, and it just worked really well. So now I have a really cool kind of evil Celestine I like to use as a Chaos Space Marine jump pack Chaos Lord, or maybe a jump pack Sorcerer. I've used it in certain games as a Slaanesh Demon Princess with wings. Here's that totally cool looking dude with the epic hair and beard on his own Juggernaut chariot. And then when we get over to my Harlequins, I like to do really simple kitbash. This is just the Dark Elf Assassin, and all I did was swap this back arm with a kiss, with the arm and fist with the kiss weapon from Harlequins. So now he's a troop master, or maybe a solitaire, depending on what I want to use him as. This next one I use as a troop master. This is an autarch from Craft World Eldar, and I just put a Harlequin mask over his face, a Harlequin fusion pistol in this arm, and a Harlequin kiss on that arm, and suddenly becomes almost like a mockery of Craft World Eldar, as you've got a good Harlequin's leader just leering at you. None of it has to be extreme. It can all be real simple, guys. This is a Imperial Assassin. Pretty sure this is the Calexis. And I swapped out a real creepy Harlequin head and then added a Harlequin arm with the kiss to just make a really dynamic, creepy looking Harlequin troop master. So I'm really happy with how that one turned out. Alright, last thing. I am currently building an Emperor's Spears army. So forgive that none of it's painted, but it actually requires quite a bit of kitbashing. Well, actually, even just regular Space Marine intercessors, if you want them to have some of their options like Power Fists, you're going to have to kitbash. They don't make, sorry about the blurry, they don't really make the Power Fist for them. So I had to cut and attach that Power Fist to my Intercessor Sergeant. This Power Fist is a little smaller because it's from the Tempestus Scions, but they don't always have to be cartoonishly big. You can still tell that's gonna hit pretty hard. Here's another one. He's checking what play the coach is giving him, a little football reference. And then he's got his Power Fist. So real simple ones like that are almost necessary if you want certain weapon loadouts that GW just hasn't made a sprue for yet. And then we get a little more in depth. Well, these guys, they have non-GW shields, which you can buy online. But what I wanted to do with my Terminator captains is get Custode Wardens with spears, because it's Emperor Spears. Use them as relic blades. And then one thing I do with my Emperor Spears is I swap all the heads with Reaver heads. I think Reaver heads just look so creepy and so awesome. And they ended up looking really sinister and awesome on the Custodes models. So you got, there we go. You got this Custodes model, but with the really creepy Reaver head. Something as simple as that, guys, can make a kitbash just look great. Got these Reaver heads, got their Spartan shields and spears. I mean, that Reaver head just makes the whole model suddenly look creepy, when Custodes didn't used to look creepy. He's looking off to the side, ready for battle. And then we get to the actual Emperor Spears models. So these took a little bit of kitbashing. Luckily for me, I have a Deepkin army, so I have lots of spears, lots of aquatic spears. So here's my Phobos captain. He took a little bit of work. I had to clip away his huge machine gun that he has in this arm. And then I still wanted him to have it as an option, so I changed it and made it so it's hanging off his belt back here. So he's ready to still use that gun. If you've ever used a Phobos captain, the gun's very important. And then I used this really cool Deepkin spear that I had. And so now he's ready to point his warriors forward and throw that spear if needed. And the last bit of the kitbash, if you haven't noticed yet, he's got a real creepy Reaver head. So just a little thing like that can make your Phobos captain or whatever you're kitbashing pretty unique. We go to this lieutenant. This is the first one I ever did before I realized how much I loved the Reaver head, so I'll still be swapping his head out with a Reaver helmet just because I think they look great, and it's making my army even more unique than other people who are using Deepkin bits. But you can see he's using this two-pronged spear. His hand's a little small. You'll find things like that make it a little trickier. But basically in my head, I'm like, this is the first Space Marine I've seen without wearing a gauntlet. So maybe their hands are a little smaller. So he's holding that spear, ready for action. Then we go to the Phobos librarian. I had to actually, sometimes when you're kitbashing, you have to really drill or dig or scrape. I had to basically saw the head out of the librarian, dig it out, and then file everything down so I could fit in the Reaver helmet that I knew I was going to want to use. So now I have my Reaver Phobos librarian, and he's got his own spear that he's got cocked back, ready to throw. And it's just making my Space Marines a little more unique. And because AOS models are kind of big, the spears fit in really well with the Primaris in terms of scale. And last but not least, I knew I wanted a combat army, and you can't have a combat army without, well, you can, but I wanted Guilliman. And I knew I wanted to change him up to be more like the spears, so obviously I gave him the Reaver helmet. But then the main thing is I did a little bit of work changing his sword out to this huge trident. And this trident bit, so you have to do a little bit of digging to kitbash sometimes. You dig in your bits box. The trident head is from the Eidolon of Mathlon model. It's one of their huge spears. If you see, there's like a kraken or octopus head leering out at you. Almost looks like Cthulhu looking down at you. And then the spear shaft I had to make from the Custodes Warden kit. It's the big banner that they use, like the -1 to hit banner. So I had to take that shaft and then attach it to this trident, and then I had to find a good way to attach it above and below his wrist. So, I mean, it turned out all right. Once it's painted, I think I'll like it more. I also, to make him look a little different, took away the big iron halo that hovers over his head. So I want him to look a little more just ready to tackle somebody. And the backpack looks pretty cool even without the iron halo. It's real futuristic. So that's kitbashing. I know a lot of people do it. Not everyone does it throughout all their armies like I do. But even this might be considered not that much kitbashing compared to like orc armies. I've seen orc armies where everything's kitbashed. Boys hanging off of Tau, looted, vehicles and looted rhinos and looted lemon russes. Really, if you love kitbashing, I should just start an orc army that's all kitbash, but if you love kitbashing, orcs are the way to go. But you can still find ways to do it with these other armies, like my little subtle Harlequin additions. But yeah, that's about it, guys. If you're a fan of kitbashing, just give it a shot. Look through your bits box. You'll find something cool in there. I mean, this is like as simple as it can get. I just added one model onto another model, or swapping heads. Dig through your bits box and just be creative. It's one of the fun parts of the assembly process. Over my 20 plus years of Warhammer, I've gotten a little bored of assembling models, to be honest. But kitbashing really helps with that. Kind of get your creative juices flowing, for lack of a better phrase. But yeah, we'll be back with more hobby talk. This is Nick from Beer and Bat Reps. Like, subscribe. Thanks for coming, guys. Try out some kitbashing. See ya.